Yo, 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 yo. What's good, y'all? It's Ace Boogie.
And it's Bartholomew the Third Jenkins. I'm doing something right now.
Yo. And we back in the building, y'all. And we got some special guests with us today. Can y'all please introduce yourselves?
Yeah, my name is Jahi Osaze, and I'm with the Liberation Center, Liberation Academy, and a musical group called Cries from the Womb.
Cries from the Womb.
Yeah.
I'm Candace Walker. I'm from the Liberation Center and Liberation Academy.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Put a caption in there for you too.
Okay, cool.
There you go. There
Appreciate
you go.
So how's everyone's day?
Long.
Yeah.
Long. Yeah. Dealing with children, you know how that is, and then trying to rip and run and get the home life squared away, then dash over here to meet you brothers and get ready for some serious dialogue. Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to get y'all opinion on something real quick. So a couple weeks ago we was here and we was sitting out in the lobby.
Oh,
And we going straight there.
okay.
We were sitting out in the lobby, and we having a conversation because we waiting to come into the studio room.
Right.
So we having a conversation. This is a little kid, saying outside.
Right.
He's on the computer out there, and
Specifics.
yeah. Give specifics. So we having a conversation. We talking adult conversation, and the kid looks over at us and he goes, "Can y'all please stop talking like that? Because there's a kid here."
He didn't say it like that. Why you say
Well,
it?
how did he say it?
He's being very polite.
All right. So how did he
didn't
say it?
please or none of that.
Okay, how'd he say it
He
then?
turned to the adults and said, "Hey, there's a kid sitting here." So that's what he said. Just you know.
So when he said this, there was a young lady with us, and she was like, little boy, you a child, you need to stay in the child's, in child's place."
She was correct.
Was she right for saying that to this random kid? We don't know this kid. Was she right for making that statement to this random kid?
Candace, you're going to have to deal with that first, because, I'm sure there was some other circumstances. She didn't know this kid?
She didn't know this kid.
Just-
he was. I guess he was waiting on his mother. You know what I mean? Because maybe his mother was in here getting an interview or
Okay,
whatever.
okay.
But we like I said, we were out there waiting,
Right.
and we're just talking.
Yeah.
You are very specific, aren't you?
Yeah.
I am. I'm giving the visual.
Yeah,
Right.
you
Understand.
giving a hell of a visual.
I think there's really two answers to that. And I know people say, well, how can you have two answers? Well, when you look at theoretically, we should be able to challenge our children and correct them, because as adults, we should get that respect because of who we are. But the time in which we're living in now, a lot of times things happen that's unbeknownst to us only because a lot of people are not going back to the old days where your parent could raise me and chastise me. So now it's like, it just depends. But I think she was right in theory, but in reality, you just don't know what people do nowadays. So, I don't know if there's an answer, yes or no, but it all depends, really. Yeah. So I'm kind of like, side swiping it a little bit. But
Like, don't say nothing to my kid.
Yeah.
It's the same, I guess.
Yeah.
And then what was y'all talking about? It was just
We was having
So,
Random.
so,
having
so
a dope conversation.
No. Let me say this: we were having casual conversation, but since we were among adults, we were using adult language. We weren't talking about anything. It's like me talking to you, and maybe
Right.
I use a curse word,
Right.
Not being rude, but maybe it's like, look at that goddamn bottle,
Right.
Oh, the fucking water spilled. You
Okay,
know, but
okay.
just speaking in general, but maybe use some curse words.
Right.
And the little kid just looked over and said, the question is, was the kid wrong? Oh, I like that. Was the kid wrong? The kid looked over, and we talking amongst, just like right now. We not acknowledging the kid.
Right.
Just talking. Just imagine that his voice come
Right,
from over
right.
here and say, "Hey, there's kids here."
Yeah, that's
Now me personally, it's you shut your ass up.
yeah.
You feel me? But you don't tell a kid that because he don't know as well. But I feel like she was right to she
let
didn't
him know.
disrespect
I
him.
got you.
But hey, I'm gonna let you know. You stay in the kid's place. I don't care what grown ups talking about.
Right.
You're not even eligible to even be saying anything. What are you gonna do?
Now, see, that goes back to what I was saying earlier.
What are you gonna? What are you gonna chastise us?
Staying
What
in
do
the
you think?
kid's place.
Stay in the kid's place.
That's the respect factor, because children shouldn't just interject and interrupt adults, because back in the day, I don't know how your parents raised you, but you get a knot upside your head.
Yep.
And you couldn't even be in the same room when they had conversation.
go outside with kids.
that part is definitely correct. But again, we got to look at the times in which we live in now.
Right.
And even though from a theoretical standpoint, I keep saying that because in theory you're right. But the reality is, it's not like it used to be. So, I mean, I don't know if it's the kids shouldn't have said anything, or the parents shouldn't have said anything, or the adults shouldn't have said anything. It's just every situation, brothers and sisters, is a challenge, and we have to be careful. One of my friends told me that a man that was in New Jersey, he's an elderly man. He saw two brothers that were late. They were out late at night, and they were like 10, 11. And he told them, you guys, y'all need to go home, and he wasn't disrespectful. They beat this man to death, man, because of what he said. So you see, he was right for telling them they should be in the house at 1 or 2 in the morning. But then they turned around and killed this man.
Wow.
So we got to look at all the parameters. It's not like it used to be. You could get away with that back in the day. They go in the house, yes sir, no ma'am. Now they're gonna say what? F you. You make me go in the house. Now you got another situation. So we got to be very careful with that. That whole, if it's just either or.
Candace, how would you feel if, say, you walked out and you heard someone telling your child you stay in a child's place?
I don't know.
World War III.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like both parties are right.
Okay.
I try not to cuss in front of my kids or around my kids.
I gotta practice that.
But at the same time, I just feel like everybody got to be cognitive of that it's a kid there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, let's quiet down, or let's take it outside, or whatever the case may be. But
I have a hard time, me personally, can't speak on no one else. I have a hard time conforming to the way people are raising their kids these days. Even though I'm still young, I know how I was raised, and I raised my sons exactly that way. If I heard you telling my son to stay in a kid's place, the first thing that I'm biased on they came out of, I love my sons. I have a lot of bias towards my sons. Yes, they mine. But if I heard you tell my son stay in a child's place, the first thing that I'm gonna think of is, what did he do to step outside of a child's place? I'm not going to, don't tell him that, because you probably was telling him right. He probably cussed you out, and you instead of you cussing back out, and your response was stay in a child's place. Why are you telling him to stay in a child's place? Oh, such and such, and then I'm gonna handle them accordingly. So I have a hard time when, if my son outside fighting and someone has enough courage to break up them fighting and say something to my son, I appreciate that. But that's just me. Now, do I want you hitting on my son? No, that's what he got a daddy for. But I just got a hard time of where we living at and how we living these days. My son said that, I'm looking at my son like, bro, what are you talking to this grown man like that for? And then if he treats you like a grown man, then you're going to expect me to come and protect you, but you got to learn, like, bro, you 8. Act 8. That's it. Whether they wrong or not, so.
And it's crazy because, back in the day, the village could, mentor or, discipline your child. But, today that is not happening. But what made me bring that up, though, was because this is a young man named Charleston White. So Charleston White, he had some words to say about, it's a rapper named Boosie and a rapper named T.I. He had some words to say about their sons. Kids, And he was calling them bad, saying that they can't fight, and calling them ugly and things like this. So I'm trying to, and of course T.I., when T.I. heard this, he had something to say. Right. Now this is a whole back and forth between this man and this man. So, what are y'all thoughts? Is T.I. wrong for responding the way that he responded? Now, mind you, like I said, he's calling T.I.'s son bad and calling him ugly and saying his son can't fight. And T.I.'s son is bad. You know what I'm saying? But was he out of line for making that statement?
You talking about T.I.?
No, well, was Charleston White wrong, and was T.I. wrong for his response?
Well, I think they both. You have to look at it. If someone talks about your child, you have to come to their defense. You can't let no one, as we say today, punk your child, especially if they're saying negative things and having mean connotations about your child. So as a man, who wouldn't, come to their child's defense? And then what kind of man, again, would talk about a child like that? So you got to look at the mentality, because what's going on today, and we talk about this a lot at the Liberation Center, Liberation Academy, we talk about issues in the classroom. Everything is not just core subjects, math, reading, language arts, and all of that. We talk about how to survive. And I think right now you have a lot of people whose mentality is so childish. I'm talking about, and I can be personal in my own family. I have people that are older than us, But yet, if you speak with them or you see their behavior, you would think that they're 4 or 5 years old. Right. So we have to address a lot of the things that we as adults don't do before we can start dealing. I expect a child to be a child. A child's going to be, as we say, bad, obnoxious, whatever the case is. But when a grown person, as a parent, when they don't know who they are, when they don't look within themselves and no one's serious about learning how to be the best male or female they can be by going introspective, learning things that we can do to better our communities, you're going to always have these contextual issues, and it's never going to stop. And I don't think right now in our communities, there's no one that's really adamant about saying, okay, let's come together and talk about how can I become a better male? Right. How can you become a better male? And I notice a lot, brother, when you talk to me, this is hypothetical, y'all, so don't get it twisted. I notice a lot of times when we talk, maybe you fabricate. Right. So then maybe you need to go home and look at the next time I get an opportunity to tell the truth, I'm going to tell the truth.
Right.
So now you're growing. Then you take that next week, and you look at it and say, okay, I'm doing a great job. So now you're going to look at something else, because all of us have things in our lives that we should be working on. But we're too busy looking at other people as opposed to looking at ourselves. And that's one of the main issues I think that we have to face. No one wants to be self-deprecating, and no one wants to look at themselves and say, I need to change. And until we get to that stage, we're going to always be like the dog trying to chase his tail that never catches it. So yeah, but that's kind of where I am with that, man. Candace, you got something on that?
What's your thoughts on that situation?
I know she's
Speak on it.
I'm just here to, moral support. I'm just chilling.
Yeah, she
I know
We're
you
gonna
got
be
an
asking
opinion.
you stuff too.
I'm trying to tell you, what's your opinion
Did you straighten me
on
out?
what
I
was
was
said?
wondering, this brother that you get me on?
Yeah, you was on there, King.
Let's see here, because I saw something. See, well, let me go back here because I'm back.
Is it comments
that
on
it?
yours?
It's
That's
just,
it. Yeah,
oh,
that's it. And then
okay.
just click on it, and then it's gonna take you right there.
Oh, I didn't
yeah.
I didn't touch it. See, I told y'all I'm still in the Stone Age, man.
It's all good.
Okay.
And then you know,
Okay.
So yeah, what's your thoughts?
you should be on there.
I just feel like they need to. That comes with the territory. You know, they're rappers, these big rappers, but they, especially Boosie, he puts his business out there. You know, my son, I done got my son a stripper for his birthday. You know, all of that. So it just comes with it. So you're gonna be fighting battles all day, every day. You know, so.
But I mean, when it comes to your kids, though, I don't think you ever would be wrong for standing up for your children, huh?
Listen.
Well, yeah, I think you will. You can't be wrong for standing up for your
you
children. If your child does something, you mean to tell me, and I know you're probably going to say, well, no, I don't mean it that way, because I might be taking it through the extreme. But if your child is blatant, if your child came in here now and cursed me out and all, I said,
Oh, yeah.
how you
No,
doing,
no.
young man?
Right.
Well, you're not going to say, well, yeah, put it on him some more, son.
and let me tell you, that's exactly what I was gonna. So, growing up,
Yeah.
right? I went to high school with both of them, but I hung and left school with him. So she probably seen me being bad at school, but outside of school, I was a demon.
I hear you.
Right? I say that to say, I'm going through the neighborhood, and I'm a little menace to society kid. I'm cussing out. I'm thinking I'm a gang member. I'm cussing out the older gentlemen.
Wow.
I'm stealing their cars. I'm breaking into people's houses. I'm packing guns. I am doing the worst. I'm getting out of juvenile.
Right.
If you at a young age, if me and you getting into it, and there's no reason for us to be getting into it because I'm a child,
Right.
But I'm gonna do something for us to get into it. Oh, I'm not gonna talk to you like I'm a child. Or I'm talking to you like I'm your age. You this, you
Right.
MF, or my uncle will kill you,
Right.
and this, and I'll kill you, and F you, and I hope your mama die. I'm saying the worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? What do you tell that little kid? Do you tell him, hey, you stay in the kid's place? No, they cussing me when the big homies throwing me in the walls. Like, nigga, because I'm doing the worst. And they right for that. Right? So I say that to say, when you look at T.I.'s kid, and I'm not in their life.
Right.
When you look at these kids, I think that we in the day and age to where it's cool to act like that.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like it's cool to be. How disrespectful can you be? That's where we at right now.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
I hear you. I
So
feel you.
so you're wrong if I'm being just ultimately disrespectful to you, right? You suppose like you don't got feelings just because you a man and
Right.
just because you got balls and you're grown,
Right.
that means you have no feelings. So you're supposed to say, you know what? He's 12. Obviously, he's advanced to know how to talk like he's 50, but because his mind not 12. His mouth not moving like he's 12. His mouth moving like he's 47 years old. but I'm gonna have enough control over myself and say, "Hey, little man, can you quit?" No, that's just not how I see it. Like, no, you want to act, I'm gonna treat you accordingly, because what's your daddy saying? Like, my son not gonna come in here and treat you like that. You get what I'm saying? Because that's a reflection of what we doing at home. It's like,
Right.
damn, if you could do that like that, then I wonder what your daddy teaching you. Because you shouldn't be so comfortable to talk to another person like that.
But see, you also got to throw in the mix, and I don't want to muddy this thing up, but you have to throw in the mix that everything isn't ideal. In other words, you're in your son's life. Well, maybe, and I'm not excusing the disrespect,
Right.
but maybe this young man, this young boy that cursed you out or talked crazy to us, maybe he doesn't have a father in his home.
This T.I. son.
And, well, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. This T.I.
Maybe he isn't. I mean, I don't
Right,
know.
right. This
But I'm
T.I.
saying,
son and Boosie's son.
But see, it also goes back to parenting too, because you just
Exactly.
mentioned a key word. You said what you do with your child.
Right.
That's what most people should do, idealistically. But the reality is, everybody's not sitting down teaching their children how to respect adults. Everybody's not saying when adults are in the room, you go outside and play. You don't sit on in their presence and eardrop, then repeat what you hear. A lot of people don't do that, brother. And I think the reality is, we all live in a fantasy world. I'm talking about all of us as a people, because
Right.
we want things to be the way they should be. But the reality is, they're not like that. So we have to make that adjustment. And whatever we do when we're dealing with these children, whomever, whatever the situation is, we have to be very careful that we protect ourselves. Because, you can tell, let's say if my son said something crazy to you, and I'm not in my son's life, and he calls me, "Dad, this nigga,
Right.
he disrespected me." I'm not going to ask him anything. I'm going to get my gat.
Exactly.
I'm gonna find you, and
then we'll handle
you're
it.
trying to say, "Well, hey, brother, what?" And I don't care what you say. So I'm saying you have to be careful with the circumstance and the situation, because again, I love to live in an idealistic world. I do, but the reality isn't like that, and that's why when we talk at the Liberation Center, Liberation Academy, we have to teach our children that this educational system that we're in now, it's not about just learning how to read and write. It's learning how to take what you know and use it so that you can benefit your people and benefit yourself.
Right.
If you're going to be a mathematician, then don't use that math to destroy us. Use it to create income for your people.
Right.
And see, these are the discussions that these children need to hear. When you talk about the application, and it's important that we have these kinds of discussions, as men, as women, and just when it comes to students. Because it ain't just about sitting up in the classroom regurgitating what you hear.
Now let me ask this, because even though we're talking about negativity, I was watching Rizza Islam the other day, right? And he said something that I always say, right? Like how we talking about Charleston White and T.I. son, which this is so small. This has nothing to do with the way the world moves. Like whether they were doing that or not, this has nothing to do with the economy, global warming, nothing. Like nothing is happening. This is just something to keep us distracted, truth be told, right? But on a bigger note, it's like us as black people, it's like you don't see Shania Twain or you don't see Garth Brooks' son doing this shit. You don't see and even if they are, let's just say Garth Brooks and Tim McGraw's son don't like each other, which are two. I love country music, and I love these country stars. But let's just say his son or his child don't like their child, and they do get into it. They not about to put it on the internet and make it worldwide. They're not about to say, "Oh, Garth Brooks' son and Tim McGraw's son are fight." Like it's not even that thing. And we got to figure out, this is how I feel. Us as black people, we got to look at it as, bro, we look stupid. Like at some point, let's say me and you arguing. Me and you sitting right here arguing. Over whatever. We arguing over this. And I'm arguing with you. And then one person come and look in that window and they watching us argue.
Like damn fools.
Fuck them. Let's just say we're not even worried about that one person. We like, I'm still gonna act like that. That's one person, and then 4 people come to that window and start watching. We might not still care. But then 15 million people come to that window and watch us arguing. At some point, I'm gonna say, you know what, hey, bro, either let's go in the restroom and fight, or let's just stop. I look stupid. We look dumb, bro. Look, look, we've caused a big ass scene, and they watching us. And then not only are they watching us, then they start taking pictures of us, then they make memes of us, and then they put us on this website, and then soon be told, all we're seeing is us fighting each other. And then it's like being programmed. It's like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do with a person that look like me. I'm supposed to, when I see you, I'm supposed to ask you, what the fuck you looking at? Because that's what I see.
That's why they have all these reality shows.
I always say people that
It
watch
ain't
like that's how you
nothing
act.
positive in these reality shows.
Mm-hmm.
Bad Girls Club. Now you got Bad Boys Club. All they doing is fighting.
That's all they doing. Yep.
Entertainment.
But listen, it's only motherfuckers that look like us. And if it is, if it is somebody of the opposite race, right? There's other opportunities there for them not to keep that persona. If that makes any sense. You go on Bad Girls Club or whatever, like the Jersey Shore motherfuckers, right? Let's take Jersey Shore. That's the same shit as Bad Girls Club or whatever, the love and hip hop shit, right? But they get to go off and do other ventures, that being big DJs and throwing parties and this. When you're on Bad Girls Club and love and hip hop, that's who you are. That's because you're black. That's the image that you're now forever. You're that image. Oh, he was on Bad Girl or Love and Hip Hop, and he's mad. He does this, he does that, and it's like at some point we gotta look at ourselves and say, hey, bro, you know there's more out there good than there is bad
Of us.
Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? And we gotta think of that. Like, hold on, why is there 100? It's 97% good stuff. Why am I only seeing the 3% bad stuff? At some point, it's like I don't even want to beef with you no more. It's bigger than us.
Do you think there's an agenda against us?
Well, yeah, we know that, but I want to go back, and I mean, maybe you and I are gonna have to have our broadcast one day because we're gonna go back and forth at it in love. But I definitely agree with what you're saying. But I want to go deeper than what you said. What makes you do that? Whether it's one person or 15 people,
Right.
What makes us act the way we act? What makes us always act an ass when it comes to just like you said, basic things? You want to grab the poster, and instead of him saying, "Hey,
I
man,
definitely
I'm going to tell you why."
It's pride, isn't it?
Yeah, that's some of it. But let's,
I'm probably gonna
let's-
disagree with what you
okay,
think.
Okay,
What you
let's
think?
go. You're gonna have to agree with this one. You can't.
Because I don't think it goes to ancestors.
No. It goes with racism.
Okay.
It goes with how you've been taught. See, when you've been programmed all your life to be a servant or a flunky or to not think, and we don't see it the way we're talking because a lot of us never get the opportunity to say, hey, why do I do what I do? If you were a millionaire, chances are you wouldn't act that way.
Right.
If you had a little more money, you wouldn't have to worry about killing me because my son. You wouldn't.
I
even,
do agree, actually.
Right. So racism has done a job on our minds, and see, we don't see the damage that it's done. Now we do have personal accountability, y'all. So it's not like everything that happens, but a great majority of it, we act that way because if you were in school and you were called punks, a nigga, or you were picked on, or you were called dumb, and this thing has been going on not just with you, with your daddy, with
His
your
daddy,
granddaddy,
yeah,
and so now that's in you. So now the very little thing that happens in your household, instead of saying, "Come on, y'all, it's not that deep," so because it's that the race is. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said this. He said that there's something that's called the hate that hate produced. In other words, we were produced. So we have to have the serious discussion as to not just what we do, but I like to go to why do we do it? And I'm telling you, you're going to have to come back to in our hearts. And this is why it's important for children and adults. Do you know that a lot of our youth are killing themselves? Now, back in the day when a person committed suicide, we say, I know they were European, they were white.
Yeah.
And we ain't saying that now. So there's something, what's going on now? We hate ourselves. We don't have enough in us to say, if I'm going through something as a 15-year-old, I should be able to come to you and say, AC, bro, I need to talk to you, man. And you're going to give me some good advice. But I can't come to you, you see, because I'm so defeated within. And this is why these kinds of sessions, you guys have to continue to have these kind of discussions. But the racism has done so much damage to us. We would never get the effect that it has done to each of us. That's why sisters do what they do. Now, I'm not excusing it because there's personal accountability.
Right.
But you have to realize, man, this system has done a job on every last one of us.
I agree.
And the only thing is, so you said you weren't you going to
No,
push back.
I thought you were going to
We're on
say.
the same page
Because I
now.
thought you were going to say. Listen, because most people try to say it's because of slavery. Period. Now, do I think that slavery has something to do with it? Yeah, but we're not living in. I'm not that guy. I know that we still have systematic racism. And man, I'm probably one of the most black power people you will ever meet. Like, I love my people. There's nothing greater than my people, right? But I was more on. Most people say, "Oh, yo, black people act like that because racism, because slavery 400 years ago, and what we've been through." It's like, okay, but it's 400 years later. I truly believe when you say the conditions that were set up in after slavery. I agree. Let's take someone. If you seem like a great man, got a head on your shoulders. 1 + 1 is 2. Seem like if I ask you something, you could throw some wisdom my way for me to throw at my son. You probably could tell me something that I could tell my son, and he could tell somebody else, right? With that being said, let's say you go to jail today. Today, the man that you are right now, great man, and you got 40 years. When we come see you in, let's just say, a year, you're not gonna be this man no more. You're gonna have to conform to your environment.
That's right.
You're not gonna be that same. You probably still got wisdom in there, but now you got to interact the way that they interact, and you got to be a little conniving because you can't be a saint around these demons.
Well, that's the same thing with us now.
So I agree. Right. It's like, well, you got to act. If we in poverty, and everywhere is a liquor store, and everywhere is drugs, and it's so easy to get a gun, and it's so easy to it's so easy to be evil, right? So easy to be evil, right? To where it seems normal. Like it's like if all that comes out the water fountain is soda. Every water fountain you go to, at some point you're going to think that that's normal. When it's not, it's like, well, shit, it's supposed to be H2O coming out of here, and you don't know that you're killing yourself. Like, bro, that's soda. You get what I'm saying? But it becomes so normal, so do that for 10 years. So 10 years from now, then you raise a son like that. He's going to be so used to Gatorade coming, or you know what I'm saying? When it's supposed to be water. So I agree. It's like, well, we just acting like we live in a sewer. I live in a sewer. I'm acting like I live in a sewer. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I totally agree.
Okay, and I agree with you too. And here's where I'm at now. And I appreciate you bringing up these scenarios because these are excellent scenarios. These are the conversations we should have when we get together as family members. Right. We shouldn't always talk about sports, politics, religion, all that dumb stuff. We should talk about these types of issues because what this does is it raises the consciousness. See, it challenges us because somebody that may be sitting around, they're not used to this. So now they have to think. So what I'm trying to say is I'm at this point now in my walk, on my journey is I know all the things you said are true. All the things I'm saying is true. I know what you're saying is true. I know what the Queen is saying is true. So I'm at this point where, okay, since you know this is true, what are you going to do? Now I'm talking to myself. What are you going to do to make your community a better place? Because a lot of us bitch and gripe and complain, and we're like dolls. You pull the string and we cry. Right. You pull the string and we complain. You pull the string and we gripe. Okay, since we know all of this, this shows a psychological imbalance in our minds from the standpoint of we know that all this has happened to us.
Right.
When are we going to start talking about what can we do as a society, as a human being, as a community, or for those that are like-minded? What are we going to do to stop this? Right. See, we don't have those discussions. We have the other discussions as to what happened to us. That's history. We got to acknowledge that. Why we're the way we are, we have to acknowledge that. Okay. Right. Since we know that the educational system is poisoning our children's mind, why in the hell are we keep sending our children to that place every year? Because most of us will say in the summertime, the system is treating my child bad. They don't know anything. They're giving them medicine, blah, blah, blah. And come September or August, it's right in the saddle again. Yeah. See, because we don't even think that we can do what we can do. You can't make up a curriculum. You can't make up a curriculum. You're making up one right now. What you're talking? That's a class. What you're teaching right now. It's a class. What you're teaching. It's a class. What she's teaching. But most of us will talk about it. But when they say, "Let's put up," oh man, I ain't got no ends on that.
You want to know what I think? Why?
Why?
Because I think it's because we feel like we have to have the white man behind it or something like that.
I think it's more deeper than that.
Oh, right? Shoot! Come on, brother.
I think it's deeper than that. I think it's if you want to be an architect, right? You want to be a Rothschild, or you want to be a fucking Vanderbilt, or you want to be a Rockefeller, right? There's some lineage back there that you can follow and say, okay, here, all of our leaders to even show us what to do have been assassinated. Have been you get what I'm saying? They have been like we have nothing to connect and say, okay, this is where we're gonna start. But I'm not saying that that's an excuse. I'm saying that when you start from zero and you just juggling, I can see how it can be a little harder to start anything. So when we got a black man to say, you know what, I'm gonna start a school for my people, and then somebody say, oh, well, why ain't it 100 black schools? Me personally, that's a question for me as well. Like, dang, why don't we got more of those? But I also understand to where, you know what, it probably took him a lot just to get this little charter school. Like, he probably been through, it's probably not even, he done probably converted little trailer homes to make a school for these kids, as opposed of this person over here, they had little grants and all that, and they went and got a building. I understand that's a little harder for him. So I just think that all our leaders, if Malcolm was still here, if Martin was still here, and we still had the free lunch program from fucking the Black Panther, like if we still had all of this, we would. Do you know how to fucking farm? No. Do you get what I'm saying? But the Black Panthers were teaching people how to farm. Like back in the day, like when my great grandma was growing up, she had a farm. Like this came with your house. Like it was normal to have a farm, to go be out there, and you get what I'm saying? I don't fucking know how to grow a tomato. I'm gonna be honest with you. But do you get what I'm saying? Now if we had our great leaders still here, and I'm not saying, oh, well, you think you need Martin Luther King or something. No, but we got a blueprint of how to do it. You get what I'm saying? But that's just me. That's what I think.
There's more to that too, though, because we do have access to like Gardopia, which is right there on the east side. That they grow all that.
But you're talking about one thing, as opposed.
No. I hear what you're saying. But we have access.
Like, this piece of the paper, like
I'm agreeing with you because we have access to it, but because it's not ingrained in us, we don't think to go to it. You know what I mean? What's y'all opinions on that? Like I said, we have access to certain things, but I feel like since it's not instilled into us, we don't go to it.
Yeah, the truth is both of you are speaking truth. You're spitting truth because it's not either or. It's all the above. See, a lot of times people want solutions and they figure like, say, they ask me a question and I'm supposed to know it all. So whatever I say, okay, that's it. No, everybody thinks they know everything, okay? But we don't know too much. And I'm talking about myself. I'm not talking about you, because this is personal. This is personal. And so the more I get into research, science, technology, studying and all that, I find out the little that I do know. And people say, man, you sharp. Well, okay, I could be sharper. So what I'm saying is it takes people like you, her, myself, and other people to sit down and come up with what we have to do. It's not you tell me what you think. That's some of the answer. You tell me. It's a group of people who understand the concept of what unity really is. And that's what our ancestors had. They didn't have much, but they had a lot.
They had unity.
Because see, I can't work with you because when we say let's get together and come up with a curriculum for our children. So we get together and we excited telling everybody, come on, we're gonna have this big old meeting and we're gonna put together a program for these children. As soon as you disagree with me, but at first I'm in this meeting. I'm like, oh yeah, brother, you good. When I get in my vehicle, man, that nigga, I ain't going back there. Because his mind, see, and it's not so much that white people have a different set of mind. They've been in power for so many years. When you look at what's been happening, and the power that they have usurped on us have made us flunkies more or less. So now we feel like we can't even do this now. When I ask people, let's get together and let's come up with a program, it's a basic program. You don't have to have a PhD. You just have to have street knowledge, like we have, raised in the streets. They can't sit down and say, okay, as men, what are we going to do to stop our brothers from going to the pen? Those who are willing, those young men who saying, I need somebody to mentor me. I want to come to classes. I want to learn who I am. I want to learn what it means to tap into your higher power, your higher self. We don't have that, man. So we're just like Lone Rangers, all of us, shooting. We want to have to, and I don't mean everybody, because I don't want everybody in this group, because some of them ain't no good, because they're coming with different motives. So we have to find out, what's your angle? What are you here for? What are you here for? You see, and you'll find out when it comes time to put up money to build this, whatever we're building. You never put up, even if you don't put up $5 or something, you ain't really down for it. You're just talking, and that's what we have. A lot of black men and women who talk the talk, and I'm one of them because I'm learning how to walk the walk, because I challenge myself every day, and I still have a long way to go. And this is why with our group, we got My Son and Our Cries from the Womb. It's a conscious group. It's a movement that's teaching people positive principles, principles of the Nguzo Saba, unity, self-determination, things of that nature. We go back to the ancestors because, believe it or not, they were in control for millions of years. So the European hasn't been in control that long. But when you don't know history and all you think that we were servants and we were slaves, and this is the only thing we see ourselves as. But when you teach these children, hey, we gave you every discipline that's on the face of this earth right now. And you can show them and they can envision it. They can see it. Then they have pride. One of the number one classes that I teach at our school is called identity. You'd be surprised how many black children don't know who they are. You ask them, who are you? They're ugly. Well, who told you that? But you got to give them a chance to get it out. So that's called healing. But unfortunately, most of us men are too busy trying to get you know, I can't say it over here, but we're too busy trying to get stuff, you know,
Right.
and we don't know how to come together. I'm supporting you, brothers. You know, I reached out to you and you told me about what was going on. Now the average brother would have said, "I ain't gonna pay that, man." Okay, but you're doing something positive. So why would I not do this? I'm gonna be making guest appearances every now and then.
Right.
Because this is what is needed. So hopefully some of the people that's watching this gonna say, "Man, that was a heavy discussion you brothers had. Y'all
This is
got
very
deep."
needed.
Everybody getting involved is saying, "Bring what you have, bring what you have." She bring what she has, I bring what I have. And then let's solve this problem. Because when our children leave the schools, the homes, they got a problem waiting in front of them. And it's how do you solve it? What are you gonna do about this? Your son, my son, her daughter, your daughter. What are y'all gonna do when we're gone? The same thing. Oh, the white man is doing.
Right.
Do you know how much money is in the economy right now? The wealth, I should say, in the United States economy. $127 trillion. Guess how much of that black people?
I was about to say
lot.
probably most of it.
Or at least we're spending most.
And I was about to say the reason. Go ahead.
There's $127 trillion in our economy now. We own $6 trillion. That's nothing. When you take away from with the pensions and all of that, it's about $2 trillion. And so it's like we don't even know how to spend the little bit we have.
We spend the most.
And then what do we spend it on?
Yes.
Because
Bullshit.
no one's telling
hell
us.
is
Yeah, no one's dealing with these. You brothers are bringing. I don't know if your shows are like this all the time, but maybe y'all have us come every now and then. And fun. This is some heavyweight stuff, and I bet you some of the people that watch this going to say, "Man, that was really interesting," because they need to hear that.
You said something earlier, and I agree. I say this when you say basically we don't know who we are, right? When it comes to black people, one thing, and I'm young, but one thing that I have noticed about my people, and it was like that with me growing up, right? We are dealing with an identity crisis to where most of the religions that we practice in aren't even the religions of our people.
Don't
Right.
get it started now.
Well, and I say that to say, let's just hypothetically
I'm gonna leave it alone.
say that.
No. I want to touch on it.
No,
Let's just say that we'll just get to who we are, right? You take. Okay, I got a friend. He's Filipino. His family, whatever Buddhist or whatever they do with whatever religion they practice, Filipino. Scott is a normal person, and I'm not saying that he's Filipino, but I say that when he out and about, when he talking to it, he talk regular, like raggedy, shut the fuck up, like he talk regular, right? But when he go into his home, his parents are practicing, like they instilling who he is. There's stuff from his homeland. There's the way they eat. You don't wear shoes in the house. When you take a Jewish person, right? They live their life being Jewish, right? And of course, Jewish. I'm not saying that they are the real Jews or not. I'm just saying that shit, if black people are the real Jews, right? If they, I'm saying with these other motherfuckers, shit, they live it like they the real ones. Like they practice that. If you are a Buddhist, if you like, these people are taking it to the full and they instilling that into them. I feel like black people, we just take anything and we say, okay, we're gonna be Christians, and it's like, okay, well, you're not instilling that. Okay, I'm gonna be a Muslim. Okay, well, you a Muslim on Wednesdays? Because this Mexican over here, he a Catholic, and this motherfucker Catholic to death. Like he his mama Catholic, his grandma, he raising his kids Catholic. He when his kids born, they bringing the goddamn the Catholic priest that'll bless the, you know what I'm saying? They're like, they Catholic for real. You get what I'm saying? Shit, we get baptized. We gonna get baptized. And then guess what? Tomorrow we'll probably go and do the most raggediest shit. I'm just saying we do have an identity crisis. It's so deep to where even we don't even, I'm not saying that there's any one God. I'm not saying there's 1,000 gods. I'm not saying, I don't know, just like the next person, right? But I am saying that black people don't even not know for themselves. Like, oh, I'm gonna let you not know for me type shit. Like, hey, AC, what's 1 + 1? And then AC say, I think it's 3. And then me being a black person, I go over here and say, I think it's 3. Like, motherfucker, well, you can think it's 20 then if you gonna go what the fuck what he say. You could think it's 100 if you just going off of what you think. Can you at least be wrong for yourself? Do you get what I'm saying?
I feel you.
And I feel like that's what identity
You're
crisis come
absolutely
in
right.
at. It's like,
You're
I'm gonna let
absolutely
you be wrong for me.
Yep.
I'll just step back and let you do it.
Do you think that religion has done something to the black community?
Yeah, religion has poisoned us to the degree that we are insane. Okay. And let me clarify that, because when you look at a historical perspective, you said it perfectly, brother. We have an identity crisis. First of all, if you ask the average person whatever they believe in, what did our ancestors believe before we came over here? They don't know. You were forced to believe this. You do all the holidays that Europeans have taught you. You know there's no such thing as a fat white man with a sleigh with a big red-nosed reindeer, but you celebrate that. Mm-hmm. You got your house looking like a runway on December 25th. The plane is ready to land. You talk about a rabbit that goes around and gives kids chocolate. This is the dumbest stuff I've ever heard, but this is what we were indoctrinated into. We know nothing about the Orisha faith. We know nothing about the Neteru. We know nothing about the time frame when we were in our earliest age. We didn't believe in a quote-unquote God. Is an English word. That ought to tell us something. Our ancestors were so deep, they didn't try to define the creator, the creatress. They just looked at everything and said, this stuff here came from somewhere, so we're going to say that the sun, we'll call the sun Ra because it emanates from the creator. So they didn't try to define a God. They were one with nature. And then that also, they looked at themselves as a part of nature. So you're right, we didn't have a quote-unquote God. But as soon as we came over here, we put we followed the European. Whatever they did, we did. As soon as we got out of slavery, they put a church building up on the corner, we did it. And like you said, most of them that say they believe in some kind of religion, on Sunday they do, but on the rest of the week, they smoking more dope, drinking, getting anything you can imagine. But then next Sunday, it's a psychological mindset that have destroyed us. So the principles in any faith is great if you practice them. But if you look at us as a people, we're not even interested in learning our history, like you mentioned. What did we believe when we came over here? Before we came over here, I should say. There was no such thing as a quote unquote Jesus or God.
I asked that too.
Yeah, and this is what we have to define. You can look up the word Neteru, you can look up the word Orisha, you can see that our ancestors never had a quote unquote God. The word God didn't come to this country until the 1400s. That's when they try to define the all. And plus a lot of the concepts they have, they took from our ancestors. The Neteru or the
Hold up, so let me. Oh, go ahead.
Oh boy, they got me on this. This is an interrogating room. I told my queen, I said, "This is an interrogation room. I see what they doing."
I have questions when you say we didn't have, we didn't have a word for God, but we had, Ashun, and you know what I'm saying? Like
those are all principles. So they're just principles.
So
they're just principles.
Break down what is the Orishas?
Principle. The Orishas and the Neteru are principles. In other words, they use images to say this was something that the Creator gave them. Okay. So they never had, like, even in us.
They're I equivalent them to the apostles, the Greek, the different Greek gods, the Saint Peter, Saint Paul, the different saints that we use today. Mm-hmm. That's how I see it.
Except for they weren't real. They weren't real.
These
are myth. This is mythology. These are stories.
So this is how I I'm not saying because don't nobody know. I don't care who you are. You can be the biggest God historian on earth. Just like well, you've never met God. You can die 100 times and say I thought this, and ain't nobody right. know on earth. Okay, like nobody. But this is how I interpret it. Because I always ask this one God that we got, that everybody praying to, this one person that's just almighty, right? I always ask, well, back in, when, let's just say our ancestors' days, we had, like you said, it was multiple people to do multiple things, right? Whether you want to call them gods or whatever, it was multiple entities. It was, if it's not raining, we gonna do whatever we need to do to make it rain. Right, so rain god. Let's just call him the rain god. Oh, it's too cold. We need it to be a little hot. We gon' Horus, whoever the hell we pray to make it sunny. Right. I say that you can also see the conspiracy against black people because it's like, oh, we got this one European ass god to go and kill all these other 500 gods. It's like because when you go to ancient Rome and you go to ancient Egypt. These people, there was nobody named Jesus, and there was nobody. So it's like, damn. So your God so powerful, He's so motherfucking powerful that he killed all these motherfuckers gods. How powerful can he be? And that's how. Do you get what I'm saying?
I feel you.
It's
true.
like, damn, he that powerful because you a god, you a god, you a god, you a god, and we all praying to these other gods.
Right.
But this one European white guy that gave birth to this white man named Jesus. Oh, he just almighty to where he just do some shit and he can wipe all y'all away. Yeah. And now we just got to pray to him.
And you're so true, because how can my nation fight against your nation, and when I wipe you out, I say God gave me the victory, but yet you're a human being too? How could you be chosen when everybody's supposed to be children of the Creator? So how can you have a chosen people? So what you have is a lot of people who are so messed up mentally, y'all. Right. We are a sick people, and we don't want to acknowledge the fact that we need some serious help. And just like you mentioned, religion is of those to keep us subjected to them. That's what religion is. We had no such thing as a quote unquote God. But now, because we don't research, a lot of us don't study. You made a fact that no one knows the Creator. That's true. But we can give you a historical lesson on the first. And every story that the Bible has, for the most part in Islam, I can show you where they got it from as far as the mythologies. And I can also show you how hypocritical it is when it comes to how can you be in a faith and yet you say a woman is not equal to a man. In other words, a woman is subservient because she made a man sin. No, she didn't.
But we're also talking about a woman being this is a black woman the first thing on earth. So it's like, how can anything be bigger than that?
That's what our ancestors taught. How can a woman come from a man's rib, but then everybody else comes out of the vagina?
That's what.
Why would you tell me? Your God tell me if I'm married and I go cheat with a woman, you're committing adultery. You're no good. But you say your God went into a woman that was a virgin.
Right.
Where did the baby come from?
And she was married.
Yeah.
Or she had a husband.
Exactly.
She had a husband.
Yeah. So you see the contradictions? You know, I mean, and I can go on and on. That's not this kind of show, but I mean, I can.
No, you can,
because
people hate me on my show.
We all can go. We all can go.
They be talking mess about me. They like, Aubrey. I'm hating.
It's basic though, Aubrey. It's basic, man. It's basic, and you're not hating. And see, they don't even know how to say. If I was an ignoramus and I heard you brothers speaking, y'all speaking, I would sit back and listen because I don't know that. But see, most people don't want you to talk because they want to out-talk you. And it shows their ignorance, because when you don't know history, you don't know science, you don't know knowledge, you just listen to people. And I learn a lot by just listening. This is a broadcast, so I have to be loquacious tonight. But other than that, I listen and I want to cry. And I don't always try to straighten people out because it ain't that kind of party. But I see the state of our mentality, man. The state of our mentality is sick, and our children are the same way, because we're not going to put them in a position to win. Because we didn't put ourselves in a position to win. We don't know how. Exactly. And I can't come to this man and say, brother, would you teach me how to work these microphones? You know, can you teach me how to be a radio host? I really want to be one. See, that hurts. I can't do that. I should if I want to do it. But everybody knows. Oh yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to posture in front like I do. So everybody says, oh, look at Jahi, he good with the mic. But when you take me off the screen and ask me questions about how you plug something up, I wouldn't even know what to do. So we got some sick people, and all of us have it in us. I'm working on mine every day. I have to. That's why when I listen to people, I can listen with compassion, because I know we are people that we're greater than we are. But at some point in time, we got to sit down and come together and say, let's do some things positive for these children and for ourselves, especially black men. Right. We want to stop going to prison. We want to stop being killed. Well, what are we teaching our black men? Because some of that is racism. But some of it is like, you can't break in nobody's house, man, and get shot. And then I say, well, they shouldn't have killed him. And I'm not talking about all of that. I'm just saying some of this stuff is legit, man. But we everything is like, oh, man, the system. Okay, what are you doing to stop the system from doing what it's doing? We got us a school, 7 children. So pretty soon, we're not looking at numbers. We're looking at how the quality. That's beautiful. I got some children. If I bring them on this podcast, it'll blow both of your minds. All I do is ask questions. And
no, didn't he bring the?
That was the intro. That was the intro.
That's what I was about to say.
Brother, they older now. They're older now.
There's some scholars. I'm like, oh wow.
In fact, this is a leeway into the concert. They're going to be at the concert. They have a song we wrote together. It's called Black Power. They're going to do the song Black Power. They're also going to do the Nguzo Saba. They're going to do the Negro National Anthem. They have 100 cards, names that I can say one name, and they can go through about 100 in 3 minutes. I say the first name, they say the last name.
When we did the last when we was at the last spot, we were so impressed with the kids.
Oh, you would. Oh, you. I bet your glasses would fog up if you saw them now.
And that's what I'm about to say. These, y'all got to go back and look at the last episode. There's a couple. We was at a whole nother spot. Yeah, it was last year, a couple of years ago. But these kids, 5, 6, 7, and they almost African historians. If you, I mean, like, hey, who invented this? And they just okay. And what did this black man say about this? And they just on it. And how did we get over here? Whatever. And I'm just going in general. But these kids were so amazing to where you look and be like, hold up, who's telling you this? Like, that is amazing to where grown-ups could come and talk to these kids and they could probably school you to some things.
If you brothers are not busy on the 22nd of October from 5 o'clock to 7 p.m., we'll give you a snippet of they're going to give you a little something, because we also have something coming up the Liberation Center has on January the 15th at the Carver Cultural Community Center, not the library, y'all, the Carver Cultural Community Center. We got a play. It's called The Great Black Hopes. Now what? We take you to 3 major events. The first event we take you through is the Emancipation Proclamation, Juneteenth. Mm-hmm. Then we take you to the 1963 March on Washington with Martin Luther King's speech. And then we take you to Barack Obama's presidency. All that was fine, but now what? It's a play I tell you, that's in January. The script is pretty much done, but that's what we have going on. November the 12th, we have something coming up at the Comanche Park, the African Essence Festival. I mean, this is what we're talking about, support. I would love to see you brothers at the concert.
Yes.
I would love to see you guys.
Please keep us posted. What's one here?
That's the concert.
What's the concert?
That's
right
the concert.
All right.
Yeah. And we're going to, I don't know if you know where Martin Luther King the academy is. Right next door to it, there's a place called Our Place. Mama Linda is the lady that runs it.
I just shot, so when we get done with this, so I just shot a music video called Policing. I think you're going to love the verse. Okay. It's like a Black Power verse. But we just shot a video right there.
Right there?
Right. It's a little,
so you know where
it's
it is.
in a little field.
Yeah.
We just shot a video
That's where we're going to be.
For Juneteenth. For Martin Luther King Day.
Okay.
So we just
we got to communicate. We got to.
Yeah, they can see it. Don't touch it.
Is he going to play? Is he going to play the spot?
Hey, Godly, go ahead and play that video.
Man, and then people
get ready for the time of your life from their second album entitled Uncle Jaseneb, which means life, prosperity, and health. Cries from the Womb will be performing at Our Place, Mama Linda's, 3455 Martin Luther King Drive in San Antonio, Texas. Come on October the 22nd at 5 o'clock p.m. This is a family event with conscious music that will set your soul on fire. Also performing their latest hit, Black Power, Liberation Academy Kids, and their 10 Black Commandments. Oh yes, this is a must-see event, an evening of edutainment, education, and entertainment like never before. Tickets are $15 on Eventbrite. This occasion is limited seating, so please get your tickets right now. This concert will be sold out. Finally, a special cultural experience for families and friends. Join us Saturday, October the 22nd at 5 o'clock p.m. Our Place, 3455 Martin Luther King, next door to Martin Luther King Academy Hotel.
Yes, sir.
Hotel. Get ready for.
Okay. So, what can we expect from this event?
Well, first, let them know where it is. I know they see it first. Well,
I thought you had already said
that. Listen, y'all, it's an event it's not education. It's not entertainment. You feel me? It's edutainment. You feel me? Featuring Cries from the Womb, a family community concert. Also performing the Children of the Liberation Academy, and this is Saturday, October 22nd at 5 p.m. The address is 3455 Martin Luther King Drive, but just go to Martin Luther King High School or Junior High or Academy, if you want to call it Academy, and right across the street from there, you'll see it, just if you need a landmark. Also, music is to elevate the mind and move the soul. You can purchase tickets for $15 on Eventbrite, or you can call 210-317-4575 and ask for myself.
All right.
Yeah. So yes, you could expect to be enlightened, brother. You can be a lot of music today is really a weapon. Mm-hmm. But because again, our minds are so weak, we want that. I'm gonna blow your brains out. Mm-hmm. This is what we've been used to, and so we think that that's something that we should do. So I want to be one. So now I see all this violence, in videos, and it's used to weaponize our communities. This is different. It's going to teach you spirituality. We're going to talk about in song, like some of the Nechiru, Orishas. We're going to be using their names. We're going to use concepts like Hotep, which means peace. We're going to talk about Ankh Ujasaneb. That's the name of the project, but that means life, prosperity, and health. That's what we want for our people. And we're also going to deal with just different types of songs that's going to elevate the mind, especially if you're a couple and you have children. We want you to come. Because a lot of places I wouldn't want my children to go to see nobody holding their stuff and using. This is something you can let your hair down. You can sit back and you can say, you know what, this is really something that I like. So you really will learn. And those who don't know, you're going to learn, because through music we're going to deal with some concepts that's going to help us to understand, like you said, some of the things that we don't know about our. It wasn't a religion; it was called spirituality. Because all of us have been in the same basket. We've been in the church, all of us, and then I went on a soul searching quest that led me back to where we started. And I'm telling you, it's fantastic. But and I got people in my family that they in the church. They're still my family, and I'm not going to ever let that separate me from them. But like you said, they don't want to hear this because they're so conditioned, and it's like I was too. They're on a journey, so we have to be patient and let them grow, just like we did. But I think that event will be a life-changing experience, and get a chance to meet people and form relationships, and try to partner with people and kind of let them know that we're going to start probably a teaching class pretty soon. And that's where, like, say, brothers like yourself would come in, where we have a discussion where it goes somewhere, not what you think, and then it's just chaos. No, we structured where it's basic information. Then you'll be able to sit down with scholars and say, I want to show you where you got that concept from. Right. You'll be able to teach them. And then if they challenge you, you can show them where you got it from, because we get ours from the ancient Kemetic systems, which is in ancient Egypt, Nubia, the first people that ever walked the face of this earth. Not that we're greater or less. It's just, it is what it is.
I mean, but I feel like we don't want to, like when you say it is what it is, the first people to walk the earth was my people, right? On one hand, that really wouldn't be a thing, and we really wouldn't mind. What makes it a thing is when you treat me like I'm nothing, then I have to tell you, and I have to act like that. You get what I'm saying?
I feel
so it's like, treat me like I'm nothing, and I allow you to treat me like I'm nothing, right? And then you make me say, hey, you probably got down on me right now. You probably got the upper hand on me, but I'm royalty. It just so happened that you came and got King George and you were able to put him in a cell, but I'm royalty.
Yeah.
It just so happened that you got me right now, and it might take it might take my son, it might take my son's son, it might take my son's son, but you gonna hate when I get out these chains, because I'm not gonna have any mercy. I'm talking like this now. Yes, but believe me, your children, they're gonna be tormented. Don't worry about that. I'm gonna do all that. Not saying that, but just like, and that's the mindset of us. You know what I'm saying? To where we don't know,
right?
But the ones that do know that, bro, when that time comes, hopefully I am here, to see it. Because I will say, even though we definitely not living in the 50s no more. My great grandmother literally was doing plantation work. My great grandma, who I was raised by, my great grandma was born in 1915. Okay, right. Literally going through exactly what people go through in 1915. So imagine when her mama was born, 18, whatever. Right now, this is the woman that raised me. We wasn't allowed to tell my great grandma yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. People don't even know, like, because growing up, my great grandma was forced to tell people that. So you're not allowed to tell my great grandma yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. Like, these things that stick with me, like, damn, you can't even tell my great grandma yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. Not because she doesn't want the respect level, just because she was abused for not saying that. Wow. And she'll tell you, like, don't tell me yes, ma'am, because that reminds. Right. So when we come forward right now, it makes it want to, go a little bit harder. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, great show. Thank you.
I want to ask one more thing. I just want to educate the people real quick, because I've always been curious about this myself. And to your best of your ability right now, can you break down? Can you break down the Orishas for us? And exactly, you know what I'm saying, what they meant.
Well, actually, I practice African spirituality, but I practice the ancient Kemetic or the Egyptian. That's what I practice with the Neteru, which basically is the same thing as the Orisha. For example, if you talk about Heru, Heru is a principle, but it's a principle that talks about inside of us there is a hero. And when you see the image on the ancient walls of ancient Kemet, it teaches us that we as a people, or just individually, once you tap within yourself, those things that heroes do, you know, we always want a superhero. Well, that's you, but you have to apply those principles like having character, having courage, having strength, knowing that life is going to deal you blows and challenges. And so a lot of the Orishas and a lot of the Neteru, they talk about death a lot because we know we're going somewhere. And like the brother said, even our ancients, we called it the field of reeds, but nobody knows where you go when you leave here. Mm-hmm. So why would a person, a so-called God, create us and then burn us because we don't believe in a white man? Why would you believe that a white man died for you when we know our ancestors died? We got images to show they hung. Mm-hmm. You don't. Ain't no white man gonna die for you. They'll beat that.
Why would somebody make me? Why would the
but
first
this is what
person?
they believe, though, y'all.
But why would and again, I know we about to wrap it up. But why would the first person, if we was born in someone's image, right? And these are just things, common sense,
right?
These are common sense. I don't know how God thinks. Never met.
Right.
God's God, don't know, right? But if you was to make something in your image, right? I wouldn't make it brown, right? The first person on earth is a brown person. Well, if I made it in your image, you must be brown too. Because I can't even fathom another color. So it's like, if I'm gonna create an alien, and I say, hey, make an alien that look like you. Right. I'll probably make him with a big head, big eyes. Right. But he gonna resemble me. Probably have a big nose. He gonna look like me. Right. So then somebody come and be like, oh well, he was made in someone else's image, and the best race is green. He was made in. It's like, why didn't he make this motherfucker green then?
And one day
he made him brown. He must be.
I really didn't get a chance to answer your question because it's much deeper than 3 or 4 minutes. Right. But we have to sit down, whether it's here or apart from here, and I can go through some of that, and I can make it so simple. When we're done, you'll say, "Oh, okay." It'll help you to understand what we are dealing with now. Because once you get it, you're going to be like this brother because he's excited. I know he would be a great candidate. He's already on the right path. He knows this is fake and this phony, this stuff that's going on. So all you have to do with a brother like that is say, okay, well, since that's fake and phony, let me introduce you to this. And then he's going to take that and run with it and be a great ambassador. He already is. It's just like he said, the research, the study and all that. Once he gets that, man, you think your family, boy, they ain't going to want to see you coming. When they see your glasses, they going to run. Yeah.
Jesus, oh, God
damn it. Can you recap on us about the show one more time?
Sure. On October the 22nd at Mama Linda's place, 3455 Martin Luther King Drive, next door to Martin Luther King Academy, there's a concert called the Ankh Ujaseneb concert with Cries from the Womb. That's myself and my son. This is our second album that we have out. And then Liberation Academy kids, the children at our school, are going to be doing some a song as well as teaching. That's the education part. So that's what we're going to be doing on October the 22nd. Tickets are $15. That's my number on there if anybody wants more. If they call you guys, say, hey, we want tickets, you just give me a call. I'll shoot some up here to you.
Here's the number?
Sure. The number is 210-317-4575.
Get that black knowledge,
and it's only about 60 seats, so we're probably going to be sold out. So they need to act real fast. It's just not this Saturday, but that's next Saturday. It's for family, y'all.
I'm gonna get me and my family a ticket.
Okay, I know you're gonna probably be the one up front hollering and stuff. Y'all better do it.
So honestly, if you ask me, I'm very interested in things like this. This is all I study things, and I'm not gonna act like I'm just a scholar or anything. But my girl will tell like, nah, he watches and studies.
Well, how many people in your family?
4. Me, my girl, my 2 sons.
I was gonna say,
I'm really into the Orisha thing, the Ogun,
we gonna buy the tickets. Don't worry about that. We about to buy the tickets.
Even that. See, that's why I'm saying when you study history, that came from Egypt. People spread from the east to the west. When they came to get us off the west coast of Africa, we did believe in the Orishas. But before the Orishas, it was the ancient Egyptian principles. And the Orishas sound just like the ancient Kemetic principles because that's
where they came from.
It's the same thing. It's just a different name. So the concepts are the same. So if you are into the Orishas, you have to be into the Neteru because that's where the Orishas came from. But when you know that, you're going to say, okay. See, I don't put one above the other. It's the principles, brother.
It's the same thing.
It's the principles, Smokey.
Yeah. It's the same thing. Yeah.
Y'all some good
we
brothers,
definitely. I'm definitely gonna.
Yeah, I want to see.
Yeah, we
y'all
gonna be
there,
there
man.
with our
Yeah.
families. So
Yeah, that would
I'm
be
definitely
great,
gonna
man.
get some tickets, bro.
Yeah, that would be
Because I'm definitely interested. I'm also interested. I ain't gonna lie. I'll be watching the black Israelites when they be going off on people. You ain't black. No. Oh, you Jewish. You ain't Jewish. You ain't a Jew. No, you a white man. You the devil. I'm like, oh shit. Say that then, brother. But yeah, I'm very interested in things like
Yes,
this.
I'll
So we
keep
definitely
that.
gonna get some
we
tickets for
would,
sure.
we would definitely be there, man. It sounds like a good time.
Anything you want to say?
That's one of the queens at the
we
Liberation
already
Center. Hey, she keeps me in check, bro. I'm telling you, that's why she quiet now, but pretty soon she gonna call me. You know, I'm like, hey, hold on now, we just teaching the people.
Yeah.
She's really a humble young lady, and she does T-shirts. She keeps everything in line as far as the Liberation.
At least
Center.
tell us that.
You feel me?
Yeah.
This who do our shirts.
This who made our shirts.
She make all our shirts. You feel me?
Yeah.
Cups, mugs, draws.
Call that number. Call that number. We'll get you some shirts
she
too.
do
Call
all
that number if you want
feel
some.
me?
Yeah, I'm Candace with Sweet Designs. I do custom shirts, merchandise for different artists, different companies, organizations, and also run the Liberation Center.
Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, you know what, you guys, we gonna have to do this again because
course.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
we
so
give 'em
much
a
we left
blast.
on the table, y'all.
Yeah.
We left a lot on the table, and that's.
But
what
this was
is all
beautiful.
about. It really
It
was.
was.
We had a beautiful
It really
discussion.
was. And I hope the people that watch this to let you know, hey, brother, we like that. We want them to come back, and then we can get into a format as far as breaking down certain things. Because right now we're just kind of shooting, going. But you guys are always challenging us. I like that. You give us a platform, and we appreciate y'all, brothers.
What do you want to say? Because I barely like your ass.
Keep hope alive. But yo, check me out. This is Ace Boogie, Lambo Warren.
Yes, sir. Make sure y'all follow us on all social media.
All social medias, man. Yo, on Instagram, radioactive_podcast. You know, the Facebook Radioactive Podcast, and as well as the YouTube Radioactive Podcast.
Make sure to shout out. Make sure to follow Vibe Pod Media as well.
Vibe
on
Pod
all,
Media, man.
Platforms as well. That's
And then shout out to our
VOD
other
Media.
co-host that ain't here today,
Yeah.
Miss Keisha.
Yeah, shout out to Keisha. You know what I'm talking about?
Miss
She
Keisha
wilding
Bernice.
out today, or what she doing? She just had some. You know.
You know, she in Cali, I want to say.
Okay, yeah.
She's probably doing some realty stuff.
Already. Y'all make sure to look out for Wildin' Out, you know what I'm saying? Season 10, 15,
Don't
whatever
give me the-
season,
don't give me the
but
line.
she on the new season.
She
you know
on
what I'm
the
talking about?
the new season, man. Yo, but this is Radioactive. Peace.
Like this. Tell them this how you throw a piece like this. Do it right.